Hello, and you join me on a great trip out at 6 o'clock in the morning. My journey will take me along the wonderful M62 eastbound, then onto the A1M southbound, then the A47, then the A17, then the A47, then something else.
It was to do with an increasing sort of sacramental understanding of the faith.
Father Mark, on trees which are growing in
a situation.
At last, the daylight has broken, more or less. In fact, still kind of sunsetty. Being as I've been on the road for over an hour, it's a very welcome thing to see. I am delivering the engine from a car known as Susie Sunshine to Great Yarmouth in Norfolk, and that is quite a way off. Yesterday I managed to bundle the engine into a box and then into the boot, and I did a kind of prequel to this video showing how I did it. Yeah, sort of, because the trouble is the Volvo's back end isn't really a good shape when it comes to using an engine crane. It was never going to work, so I had to find a different solution. Into the distance we appear to have some upside down pylons. A couple of distractions in the car. First one is this. My thing dangling from the roof there, it popped out yesterday, and I popped it back in and it's just popped straight back out. So in my rear view mirror I keep thinking someone's behind me. And then further into the back where the engine resides, I keep seeing that in my rearview mirror and thinking the dog's in the back. The dog would be making its presence less known because she'd just be asleep lying down. She wouldn't be making any more noise than that engine. And in actual fact, getting into a diesel car like this and smelling old oil and petrol and stuff means that this engine has a better presence than the dog. You'll have to excuse me if I sound a little bit nasally, but I'm still all bunged up. I believe it's sinusitis. I'm worried that I'm talking like I'm eating a sock. I made every effort to make sure that every bit of wax has disappeared from my ears and down a plug hole somewhere near you. So, why am I going to such efforts to deliver an engine? The answer is simple. Money. I get paid to do it. Not getting paid a lot. I haven't asked for a lot to deliver this engine because it could have gone onto a pallet and delivered via Shipley for about £150. And that would mean I wouldn't have to have a trip out. But I do like a trip out. And I said I would do it for £100, meaning that there's a possibility I might get £50 for a day's work, which is such a long way from minimum wage that you might be thinking, that's a bit bonkers. But you've got to do what you've got to do. So that's meant for me that I've had to get up before 6 o'clock, dash a drink, get 2 tins of sardines for my lunch, and basically set off. But not before having to pump my bloody front tyre up. Oh, it sounds like I'm complaining, but it was completely flat again this morning. I have bought a kit of these like little screw things. It couldn't be more simple to mend, but 2 things have stopped me from sorting it out this week. One is that I haven't really had time, and the other is yesterday, whilst I did get a chance to go down to the yard, I didn't want to take the chance of getting it wrong and then finding myself without a usable tyre at all. Okay, it sounds like the most ridiculous thing to say that I've not had time to just simply find the hole in the tyre and then screw this thing into it. But, well, I forgot. That's what I meant. Quite possibly, needless to say, that tyre pumping episode cost me another 10 minutes. at the start of my journey. And I basically set my alarm and then just get straight up. I'm not bad at getting up. When I need to get up, I just get up. The rest of the time, I just don't want to get up at all. It's a funny thing. I've had this kind of issue all my life, and I know I'm not alone with this, where I can't go to sleep. But once I'm asleep, I can't go to wake. Anyway, there is just something really fabulous about getting up early and spending the whole day driving. And with this car, oh, don't tempt it! I don't worry about whether it's going to make the journey or not. I just think, yeah, it will. Although, well, the windscreen was quite frosted over this morning. There was a lot of condensation in the car. And I put the aircon on and nothing happened. So somehow my air conditioning has stopped working because the windscreen wouldn't clear. Maybe when I replaced the headlamp on the driver's corner the other day, maybe I knocked something. I did find a cable with a plug on the end that doesn't seem to go anywhere. Maybe that did actually plug into something until a few days back, and somehow I've managed to unplug it. Seems a bit weird though. Seems like a very, very unlikely thing to have happened. Now you'd think setting off out of the door at 6 in the morning would give me plenty of time throughout the day to just simply drive to Norfolk and back and deliver an engine. But I've got to be there before 12 because the chap who's receiving this engine isn't going to be available after that. And the drive down there is just over 4 hours. So 6 hours to do 4 hours of a drive. Sounds easy, but things often get delayed. I know many people would approach this in a rather different fashion. They'd look at the time. Oh, it's going to take 4 hours and 6 minutes to get there. Let's set off at 6 minutes to 8. Assume that you'll not hit upon any unexpected traffic problems, not need a wee, not need any other reason to stop, and get there just on time. And if you start to fall behind, you just put your foot down. Well, I find that a rather stressful way of promising to get somewhere, and I prefer just to set off early instead. And then, even there, with almost 2 hours extra, I still find myself worried about whether I'll get there on time. What a silly man. I made a video a couple of years back talking about how driving at 60 miles per hour is better than 70 because you get there not that much behind, but you get there feeling free of stress. You're not constantly trying to maintain a speed to keep up with traffic, but choosing your own speed, as long as you're not getting in the way of others, is a good way of arriving without being angry. Nobody needs to arrive at their destination angry. It's just not a good idea. Nobody's happy when they're angry. Nobody likes other people when they're angry. So why choose anger over serenity? So 60 miles per hour it is. But then, of course, worried about whether you'll get there on time will cause stress as well. So, in many ways, stress is an inevitability of going anywhere. And that's why I choose not to go places, except for today. A little green message flashed up on the screen, and at first I thought it was WhatsApp. But no, it's not. It was off my sat-nav, saying traffic is getting worse. It shouldn't be that bad though, should it? I mean, it's a Sunday morning, it's still only 8:10, yet I'm being told the traffic is getting worse. What kind of monstrosity am I about to discover around the corner? Can't wait. And now, for the first time ever, I'm concerned about fuel economy, because I've been taking it as smoothly as possible, and I got it up to 740 mile range. which wasn't so long back. In fact, it was about 5 miles ago. And now it's 695. I've not even been going up any hills. Well, with over 120 miles to go, why am I on a road like this? This is confusing. What the bloody hell? The fucking hell is... seriously, this isn't good. I mean, that's quite nice, but I can't even tell whether there's it. The road could just suddenly... I could hit a really big pothole here and find myself stranded. Yep, that is taking it very gingerly, but I'm just not taking any chances with it. 14 miles to go along this shit road, which isn't particularly pleasant. Presumably, one of the warnings was the road's been closed around Peterborough or something, so it's taken me on a diversion off the A1 long before I get there. This definitely was not part of the original route, so I'm a little bit worried now. Oh gosh, and I've lost 100 miles range in the past 10 miles because of it as well. I'm still glancing into the back thinking the dog's there. Anyway, what don't we like about motorways? Yeah, they're boring, aren't they? They're boring, but at least they're efficient. And I wish I was still on the motorway, because I've got way over 100 miles to go on a road like this, where you've got to be really aware of traffic coming in the opposite direction in case they're not looking where they're going. And I seem to have lost my thread somewhat. It happens quite a lot, especially whilst driving. Never mind, why don't we have a little break now with some time-lapse?
Lonely, the stranger and the outcast.
Interesting choice of radio today. Radio 4. I first discovered Radio 4, although I was aware of its existence a long time before this, on my way to a place called Froome, and this feature about my future self. I sent myself an email 10 years into the future. Actually, yes I will. Of a road I wanted to be on in the first place. Just can't see what I'm doing. What's worse? Really, what is worse? Doing this kind of journey at night time with no street lamps and you can't see where you're going, or doing it in the daytime, in the wet, with the sun scattering its beams all over the road and all over the puddles and stuff, and you can't see where you're going.
Circuit and an arc circuit, and they could use like
And that's it. I am in Norfolk. Excellent. Of course, Norfolk is a county, not a town. And to get to my destination, it's still an hour and 39 minutes. My head hurts. Car's filthy. I've just had myself a little lay-by break. That'll ruin my fuel economy, but it needs to be done from time to time. It needs a bit of a pasting. Driving this car too gently. I think for the rest of this trip I'm going to stop worrying about fuel economy and just put on my heated seat. Putting my foot down like that whilst I've got an engine in the back. That seems like a bad idea, doesn't it? But it's strapped down. I've put 2 straps on it to stop it from moving anywhere, and it's worked. It's in exactly the same place now as it was yesterday, except geographically in a completely different place. An infected spine in a bap. Oh no, more of a baguette. If you don't like Alan Partridge, or you're a farmer, or Chris Morris, that might be quite annoying. But I am near Norwich now, so why not? I am now only 35 miles away from Great Yarmouth and nearly 2 hours to get there. So I think I can not worry about whether I will get there on time or not now, because I'm going to do.
So we make it really comfortable.
I've just seen a sign there that said street lighting not in use. Well, that's incorrect. There isn't any fucking street lamps. How can they be not in use? There aren't any there to not be in use.
For letting us hear your Desert Island Discs.
Thank you very much, Lon.
Engine in a box. Car with no engine. Guess where the engine's going to? Success. Engine delivered to a chap called Scott, who's going to stick it in that ZR as a track day car. And he's got quite a few other projects on the go there. He seems to be very, very keen. Very chatty about it. Very good. Next year, Susie Sunshine's engine will be rebooted into something more roofy.
Right.
I have.
Why don't you just tell me? I don't understand why I should do that. Me neither, mate. Are you sure? What do you mean am I short? The van's just over here.
This wasn't the best lay-by to come down, was it?
Is alright?
I found myself down a one-way lay-by because of the tree that's fallen down. So I'm having to do this incredibly elaborate 98 turn, 98 point turn. Actually, that's an exaggeration. I did it at about 4. Let's hope nobody wants to come in and gets angry with me for being in the wrong end. It was nice to have a little break. I did mean to try and reattach this, but it's time to leave the land of Norfolk, the home of the dead badger. Some of these badgers are so big they look more like kangaroos hanging about on the floor with nothing better to do. As lovely and as bright as it is now at 7 minutes past 12, will I get back before it goes dark? I think probably not. Whenever I go on these road trips, it's always been a bit of a tradition to look out for old Rovers and MGs, but mostly Rovers. And today, I've seen a 75 that was in some sort of dilapidated garage, all covered in moss, next to an old Audi. That's it. No more. Besides the MGs in Scott's lockup there. But guess what I've seen lots of? Old Volvo estates. I've seen about 4 of them. For lunch I decided a couple of boiled eggs, a tin of mackerel and a banana. But I forgot the banana and I didn't get around to boiling some eggs. So it's just a tin of sardines. That's it. A tin of sardines, which many people will think is a bit of a weird lunch. But why? Why is it weird? Sardines, you don't eat them, you give them to your dog. They're disgusting. They look horrible, they stink. Yep, they do. And they don't even taste that nice. But you can kind of get into just eating something because it's good for you, and then you end up enjoying it. I've simply had a tin of sardines and I actually quite liked it, as long as I didn't look at it because it looks horrible.
And so the truth is,
after all, the sat-nav comes under the category of shit you can count on, just like an abacus.
those conversations,
Totally rely on your feet through wrongdoings like corruption.
This is rather strange and a bit ridiculous. The main road that connects you from somewhere like Norfolk to the A1M is a 20 mile per hour limit. Well, I say that, I've just discovered that I am no longer on the A17, which means that the main road that connects you from Norfolk to the A1M isn't as efficient as taking a 20-mile-per-hour limit through the sticks. What a strange place. Yes, only another 3 hours to go. I really feel like I'm making some progress now. Up ahead is that rather magnificent bridge again. Shall we have another look for a ship over the river there? I've still got 3 hours to go. How is it possible for it to take this long just to go this far? Probably because there's no bloody motorways. I wonder why there's never been any plans to actually connect Norfolk with the rest of the country, like the rest of the country is. I mean, yeah, motorways are annoying, and you get fed up of driving on them, but you can't half get places quickly. I wonder if there's anyone around here that would have suggested I popped in for a cup of tea, because I could do with one right now. There's Gregory Elgood. Hello, Gregory Elgood. Thanks for the parts. I always think if there's one place where an American trucker would feel at home, it would be East Anglia. It makes you feel like you're in a British American road movie. An awful lot of old cars here, but then there's space to keep them. All these ploughed fields and bits of wasteland knocking about either side. Plenty of place to just keep your old car should you not really want to get rid of it. I believe it's cheap. It's just like America. I want to live here. I've never thought of that before, but actually this is quite an appealing place to me. Although I don't want to just live in someone's house. I want my own farm. You know, be realistic.
I bought some grass clippings.
At last, after over 300 miles, I've just seen a Rover 25, 3-door, in blue, can't remember the name, driven by a man with a beard and glasses. And I waved at him, and he didn't wave back. I definitely think this should be considered as England's Nebraska. Probably about the same temperature as well.
You can add more bits to rubbish.
Any Guinness on how you can take branches, sticks and cuttings to create a wildlife haven.
Very thin, straight stem. Water. So there's two things here. If you want the privacy at the height, the other.
So then I decided to learn everything about top of that luxury money.
But you also, as I said, we've met at charity events, and you were incredible.
Success isn't success unless you bring people up the ladder with you.
So what's success to you?
Just been listening to this really lovely lady talking about business and success and stuff, and she's very, very humble. She's made a fortune for herself, and I just feel somewhat inspired by what she was saying, because so far in my life I've never ever succeeded at anything other than making videos, learning how to make food, I've succeeded in learning how to do things, but never succeeded in really making any money, which is exactly why I've done this engine run today, which will probably, in the end, will probably have taken 11 hours for what will be about £40. Just because, you know, I need to do something. And there's something she said there that's just made me feel really positive about the future. And that's the first time in a while, because I've been muddling my way through this, trying to get my rent paid. Then I'm in the old curveball of now you've got to be a home teacher as well, because the local high school won't let your children in because it's too far away, even though it's only 2 miles away from home. And meaning that I can't even get to work very often. But there's just something she said that's just made me think. And I just have the feeling that things are going to get better. I just don't know how. Hearts Head more services. It's as far as I could last before needing to go for a visit. Whilst in there, I could smell that familiar peppery, meaty smell from the Subway outlet, and it's just very, very tempting. I've not had one of those sandwiches for years, and I always did like them. And all I've had today so far has been one tin of sardines, but I resisted it. I've just got so far that I can't go back on it now. Sardines. Now, I like mackerel, but that's like twice the price almost. And sardines are actually even better for you than what mackerel is. So it's a matter of having something that's going to do me some good, rather than something that isn't going to do me any good, but just satisfy the pleasure of eating something. We eat an awful lot. We eat all the time when we're not hungry, and that's what I'm trying not to do. The other day I had kale and grapefruit. I didn't like it, but I drank it. The day after I had spinach and grapefruit. I liked that a lot less, and there were gritty bits in it as well. But I had it because it's good for me. And it does make you think, if these things are so good for you, why do they taste so disgusting? Why do they have a taste about them that in general makes you prefer to go hungry? Or just go for the convenience knowing it's not going to do you any good? Well, I think the answer is quite simply conditioning.
James, I think
So you had to have a fire. There was no fire actually attached.
And with that, whilst it's still light, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and thank you for liking this video, and thank you for being a channel member, and an extra special thank you for being a channel member. I know I've said that, but that's the point. It's worth more than one thank you. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for re-commenting. Thanks for replying to a comment. Thanks for any other things I should be saying thank you for. Thanks for anything at all I should be saying thank you for. And I'll see you in the next video.